Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Sweet Journey. I am Sonia, also known as Sweets, and I made a choice. it it looks like this. The entire video, I think, will just look like this. It's okay. It's all right. It is Valentine's Day. Hi, hello, and I think more than anything, I wanted to get on here and say, hey, hi. Are you okay? Like, yeah, you. Are you okay? I ask because I think a lot of us are not okay. Some of us know we're not okay and we will tell you, like, hey, I'm not fine. And some of you will say, you know what? I thought I was okay, but maybe I'm not. I don't know. And some of you are okay. It's totally fine. For those of you who are okay, just sit back, hang out with us. I thought I'd do this little like Valentine's Day tribute to kind of what love looks like. And there are a lot of things that are going on right now that would not be indicative of what love looks like, but it's okay. But I thought I'd come on here and check in and just kind of give you an update, even about me. Like, let me just name that I have not been well. And there are several reasons for that. I recorded an entire, like, 30-minute monologue, and there was no sound. So here we are again. This is take two. And I just decided I would bring hearts into the space for it. And maybe just for this part. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of the hearts. Let's have a real conversation. Shall we? Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Sweet Journey. I am Sonia, also known as Sweets. And I am in the shadows. Let me just turn a little bit of this light up. Um, so, are we okay? Like in real life, not joking, not like the kind of casual are you okay, but no, like in real life, like, all right, are we okay? And there's something around this that feels really perfect to talk about on Valentine's Day, and not because people are sad because of Valentine's Day, because I don't, that's not what I'm thinking, but I do believe that people are struggling. And I'll just speak for myself. I have been struggling. And oftentimes people say, like, you need a therapist, like, you need to go to therapy. Here is what I'm learning. Here's an update on the I have a therapist. So I regularly see my therapist, and what's happening is there were things that were kind of like tucked away from childhood that I didn't know were tucked away in childhood. And so I'm just walking around minding my business, doing like everyday work. And every once in a while, I step on like something that feels very much like, let's just call I am triggered. And those triggers, I am learning, are not just randomly happening. Those triggers are absolutely directly connected to some things that I kind of tucked away and decided not, and not even decided not to, but did not have the capacity to deal with as a child. And so now in my 50s, they're starting to surface. And I don't think I'm by myself. I don't think I'm alone in this. And so while I think 100% yes, therapy is wonderful, I think that you have to have an outlet to do with what's happening emotionally while you're unpacking things. One of my last assignments for my therapist was to listen to podcasts about nurturing the inner child. And so I started watching. I looked up some and I started watching them. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of not ready for this. Um, so I watched some, and one of the things she always encourages is like watch and pause and journal. Watch, pause, journal. think about what's being said, think about how it actually impacts you and all that. And so, like, just doing the work is what's happening right now. But I will say, while doing the work this past month, because I'm probably just finishing like my first month of leaning into kind of getting help with the heavy emotions that I've been feeling, I am learning that there's something that has to happen with those emotions as they're getting pulled to the surface when I'm trying to be productive at work. And so I'm working on that. I'm working on that now. And I think two big, I'll call them unlocks for me, two things that were just really, really helpful to me that I want to share, and then share a couple of things that I am doing that help. One of the things is I learned that as a child, I was really, really praised as a child. I was like precious. I was praised. I was like a delight, that kind of thing. What was birthed out of that way of being as a child is this external validation, this kind of not just a need for it, but like a longing for it. And so what that produces in my adulthood is two things. One, well, sure, more things, but the two things that I'll mention. One is this behavior of performance, like driven to perform. I would have never thought of it that way, but like it's true. Like I performing is kind of what I like to do, and what I am coming to understand is like I'm not just achieving for achieving's sake. I'm achieving because there is some compliment or acknowledgement or accolade that comes on the other end, whether it is a promotion or a I don't know, like, but there's something positive that's on the other side of that achievement. So I'm driven by achievement but what I'm driving toward is actually validation. That is tough. But the other side of that is that when validation is not present, and what that does to my confidence, I think the things that I struggle with most in the month of January were insecurity, imposter syndrome, like lack of worthiness, like not feeling worthy, like big things that I don't know that I really dealt with them in this way, but they were very present for me. So that feeling of needing to be validated, that was something that in conversation with my therapist just came to realize that it was just a missing piece for me. And the missing piece is having that internal validation that I know I did a good job. And I don't need anybody else actually to tell me I did. I know I did a good job. I don't have that. I might say I know I did a good job, but I'm also waiting for somebody else to confirm it. So that's big, and it takes up a lot of space at work. This other part just happened today, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Valentine's Day. That's so weird. Happy Valentine's Day. I say this with love, just so you know. But the second thing is today's conversation, we talked about empathy. And we were talking about a situation, a relationship that I have, and I said I am really incredibly empathetic, and where the rubber meets the road is when I feel like I need to protect myself. And one thing that we've been talking about over the month was like this idea of the distinction between building a wall and building boundaries. And I am masterful at building walls, like. Whew, and you do not have access. And I was really proud of that, actually. I felt responsible to that inner child. Today we started talking about empathy. And my therapist started really unpacking some things that I was just like, wait, what? And one thing she said is empathy is not connected to emotion. And so when you say I'm empathetic, and then you didn't say but, and she told me you're really good at naming potentially negative things in a positive way, but it's because of the way you communicate. But really, and I even think she told me I was judgmental, which was, I was like, but in the context of this conversation it was so good, and I needed to hear this. But she said, to be empathetic is to truly be present with someone. And if you're truly present with someone, it's not about you. It's not about your emotions. It's not about it's not about you. You are not actually in the equation of empathy. Empathy, the only part of the equation that you're in is being present for somebody else. And it shattered a couple of things for me. One is like, as a kind of brand of who I am, I consider myself to be empathetic. But when it is viewed through this lens, I am 100% not empathetic, because one other behavior pattern that I have is connection. I believe in connecting, right? And I connect, I think, powerfully and consistently. That is my constantly. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm talking to them with the intention of connecting with them. Nothing wrong with that. However, in the space of empathy, if I'm connecting with them, I'm in the equation. It's me and them, and I'm building a bridge. And when I'm building a bridge, then I'm also bringing all of my emotions with me. And then I'm leaving myself susceptible and vulnerable, and probably looking a little bit more toward me than I am them, because I'm listening, but I'm listening with my story in my head. I hope this makes sense. And so once she shattered the idea that I'm not empathetic, and she didn't say that, but this is like, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know that I've ever been empathetic to anyone, because I'm always intending to connect, always. And the good part of that, and I will shift over to kind of like some things that have been helpful over the month and helping in these big feelings that have been surfacing in this conversation around empathy. The thing that I got really excited about is that I got accepted into a coaching program. And so I start training and actually behaving into coaching. So I'll have coaching clients this year. And one beautiful thing about that is coaching 100%, when done well, takes you out of the equation, believes that the person who you're talking to has everything that they need to solve the problem that they're bringing. And my role is to just kind of be in it with them to help navigate, but not to solve, not to connect. It's not about me. And so I got excited because I said, I think that practice is going to build the muscle of empathy. And one thing that I really behaved into last year was this word curiosity. People would tell me that I asked really great questions. Oh, that's a great question. But it was because I was behaving into curiosity. I wanted to be like, when people were talking, I wanted to just get curious. I wanted to always ask a good question, right? When I add on to that curiosity, empathy, then it is this, like, how can I practice presence, like, powerfully? So I'm excited about that. That is exciting. And that, like, it brought up heavy emotion, and I cried, I got emotional about it, because I was just like, how am I not empathetic? That's crazy. That is crazy. But I think the idea is, how do I build the muscle of being present with people? And so I'm excited about that. Hard shift into other things that have helped over the month. Hard shift. And I'll kind of anchor it in this. One thing that I advise, or that has been helpful in just kind of trying to work through the heavy emotions that come up from therapy, is to cling on to the things that I am grateful for, to remind myself of things that are actually working, to not get so bogged down into things that are not. And that has been really, really helpful. And in the spirit of that, in the hard left that I'm about to turn, is go Eagles. So in the middle of all of the crazy and all of the foolishness and all of the things that are happening, I've been a fan of the Eagles for years. And I think it's because in college, I went to one of my roommates in college is from Camden, New Jersey. And we would go to Philadelphia, and I loved it. And so I've been a fan of Philadelphia since then. And I would always say, I don't know why, but I love Philadelphia, right? And then Jalen and Smitty, and there's one other person who I can't think of their name, but they went to Philadelphia from Alabama, Roll Tide. And then I was like, oh, listen, I'm like a super fan now. And not that I don't usually watch NFL games, but anyway, so I do have a jersey coming. That is a gift. Thank you, T. And I have the championship t-shirt and hat that I bought for myself when we won. And that is like, that is wonderful. That is exactly what I need. And I think, that like there's something about that like I can celebrate that in the midst of all the things. That is something I can celebrate. I also came to realize one day I was driving and I think the audio didn't work, but I'll try to plug it in here so you can see it. I was driving and I was like, I don't know that I'm okay. I don't think I'm okay. And my indicator that I wasn't okay was my nails were like it looked like my nails were at the tips of my fingers and then my toes looked even worse. And I was like, that actually is not the way I live. I don't live like that. Because I don't have to. Like that is there are certain things that I prioritize and that particular day I went and I got my nails done. And I love them. I have broken one. I broke it last night. I went to scratch my leg on my jeans, and it seems like I scratched hard. I did not, but something happened to that bad booker. But it's okay. I'm gonna go get it fixed. But I think finding something that brings you joy, like I could feel even when my feet were soaking and they had my nails like soaking in the like I get dip, and so it was soaking in like the aluminum. I could feel just going like this. And so in the midst of all of the crazy, all of the movement and all of that stuff, I found a moment to relax. And I needed that. So what is that for you? It doesn't have to be like getting your nails and feet done, none of that. It could be something very simple. Yesterday or today, one of the things I did just for self-care to love on myself is a few meetings I just said, I'm going to be off camera. And I just enjoyed my lunch because my meetings were back to back. And I was just like, I'm going to be off camera. I'll come on if I need anything, or I'll ask any questions if I need to. But that just permission to give myself to just not be on camera because I work from home. It was that. So, that could look all kinds of ways for you. And so, so just find something that brings you joy and then do that thing. And I think the last thing that I'll just name is being around people who bring you joy as well. That's helpful. There's safety in a multitude of counsel, but it should be wise counsel. So like if you have people in your life who will fan the flame of your depression or fan the flame of your righteous indignation about something, that's not the wisdom. That's not the counsel. You want people who will say, okay, but what's working? Like, what's going well? You want that. And surround yourself with, at least have one person in your life who that person represents that for you. And I think that's helpful. So hopefully that is helpful to you. Hopefully it's something that you can, lean in and take the reins of your not being okay. Like take the reins, get in the driver's seat. This one thing that I'll add that I didn't in reference to like the validation, the stuff that I was the conversation that I was having with my therapist. The one thing that is interesting is I asked her something like, well, what do I do? That little girl still needs to be protected. Like when I am in conversations, the reason a wall goes up is because I don't feel safe. Or if I'm talking to somebody and they're saying things and it's triggering to me, I immediately set up barriers and protect myself. So what happens? Like, how do I function inside of a protective space? And the wisdom that she provided me, two things. One was when you are present with someone else, you empower that little girl because you didn't bring the emotion into the conversation. So you don't have to protect her. Like she's just enough empowered. You don't have to worry about her because you are fully present for somebody else. I was like, ooh, that's big. And then she said, and then from a, because I said, what about if it's like like the meeting is about me? And then she told me to practice self-validation. Practice it. Like just get in the habit of validating myself and closing the door to feeling like somebody has to confirm it. And so I'm going to practice that. That's what I'm going to be up to. And so hopefully there's some things in here that you took away, some things that would be helpful to you, some things that'll help navigate tough times, and that you're feeling a little bit better, a little hopeful. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending this time with me. And please give it a thumbs up if it was something that supported anything about your life. If you have any questions or comments, you want to push back on it, I'm getting to a very healthy place where I will not push back. I'm just like, oh, okay. Are you okay? Like in real life, are you okay? That's what I'm leaning into, and not in that was sarcasm. But in real life, my hope is to be truly, truly present for people. And so with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye.